Morning all. This is my game. I'd like to show you my game last Tuesday. It was another away match against Watford 2. I was playing a player called Carnation, who I've played before, and I was playing white. So I kicked off with e4 and he played Sicilian defence. I played knight f3, he played knight c6, and I think I have played bishop b5 against him in an earlier encounter last year, and I think I managed to win that game. But I thought I'd play the open Sicilian this time and see if he's going to play a Sveshnikov. And actually he did actually go into the Sveshnikov with e5 now here. So knight f6 forcing knight c3 and then e5. And I was very fond of the Sveshnikov as a junior. It's very exciting, dynamic, double-edged opening. It does kind of weaken the d5 square. Fundamentally, the structure, you could say, is a little bit dodgy. I played knight db5, which is the main move. d6, bishop g5 is the main move. a6, the knight comes back. The idea is usually you're either going to take here or you're going to play this, and usually you're going to reroute this knight to the centre to eye that d5 square again. He played b5, and so the two main moves here, and actually they've got an equal distribution of usage. It's knight d5 or bishop takes f6 here. Knight d5 in live book, there's 7,647 games, and there's about 6,695 bishop takes f6. These are the absolute two main moves. I associate knight d5 with kind of Karpov more than Karpov style. I think he used this to duff up John Nunn, I think, once in the Sveshnikov. But I think he played this generally here. Knight d5 was actually my choice last Tuesday. We see bishop e7, and now I take on f6. It takes, and now c3. So the idea is to reroute this knight. There's a time loss with the knight, but this is quite theoretical. My opponent castle, which is actually the main move. Now knight c2, bishop g5, and again, up to this point, it's all been seen before. I was slightly tempted with h4. This is a rarish move. It's the main move is actually just play a4 here immediately. Leave this bishop alone. Don't develop it. Just play a4. Try and inflict some structural damage straight away on black, or open the a file. If h4, really, I was wondering about if bishop h6, g4. I think black just plays bishop f4, and this is okay. Even if I'm going to win a pawn, black's going to get lots of play on the e file. So, for example, queen f3. I think black's just got sufficient play, just losing that pawn, and I didn't want to get into that. A bit too committal, so I went with a4, which is actually the main move. And now, in fact, here, theoretically, this is an important point, very important aspect theoretically. Black should apparently be taking on a4 for sure. There's 1,660 games with b takes a4 in live book, and only 12 with rook b8. So it looks as though this, for example, like this, goes on like this. This is the most beaten path for both players, to play it like this. And you know, we've got a very interesting set of imbalances in the position, and it's okay for both sides. But in the game, there was rook b8. I think this is slightly better for white. I take on b5, takes, and now possibly though I go slightly wrong here. The main move here is just bishop d3. If bishop d3, for example, bishop e6, let's have a quick look. Now knight b4, takes. This is okay for white. There's a bit of a grip on d5 here. That's quite nice. This a file rook is quite nice. But I think I go slightly wrong. Well, not that accurate. I play knight Ncb4, which has been seen before apparently, but I'm not sure it's that brilliant. Let's put on a bit here now. So knight Ncb4, and he did take the knight. If he plays knight e7, I'm not entirely sure that's any good. Just take care, plonk the other. Oh no, just win the exchange. Knight c6. That's not good. It's unplayable. I think bishop b7. What would happen here? Apparently knight a6 is quite nice for white from an engine point of view. So if rook a8, bishop takes b5. If it takes here, I've got that light square bishop, a very nice knight. This is okay, but alright, so after this he just took on b4 and I took back. Now bishop b7. White's apparently got a slight advantage here. I played bishop d3 and then the energetic f5 is played. I think it would be a really bad idea to take. I mean, the main kind of central strategy is to keep a grip on these two squares and a blockade ideally on these two pawns, so there's no surprises with those pawns coming through the centre. If I took, then I'm sort of violating that. I'm losing control of d5 and e4, and also this g pawn fragments all these pawns, so this is kind of unpleasant to say the least, this position. I mean, black's got everything he wants. He's going to play d5 later. It's brilliant. So no, I just try and hold guard of the e4 pawn. I play queen e2, and in the post-mortem there's a very strong Watford player, Van Katz for short. He was recommending d5 here, which is very energetic. So for example, if e takes, then e4 and black's again getting a lot of central control and initiative here, and this is probably to be avoided. This kind of position is kind of a dream position for black. There's a lot of play. If e takes d5, bishop takes. Apparently white's better, not just ignoring that and just playing castling here. Actually, apparently the engines seems to like this. So even if e4, I think bishop c2 is bad here because of bishop c4 skewing. So actually bishop takes b5 is going to be played. And it looks a little bit on the dangerous side. Actually, knight takes d5 here makes that unplayable because of bishop c4. So if f4's not on the cards yet, queen b6. Well, white's still better than that, and the bishop moves. Okay, this is problems for black. Bishop b7. Is black ever going to get time for something aggressive? That's the real question here. Knight d5, probably not. Bishop c4, king moves. I'm just suspecting that I thought this was dangerous, this kind of position. I mean, if black really tries to go for it here, I'm just taking f3, g3. It looks as though, I mean, the engines seem to don't care about this potential attack with queen h3. There's bishop f1. I think that's why. So maybe white's just better here. I don't know. Somehow it looked as though this was an extremely dynamic try to play d5, but I'm not entirely convinced, looking at this, that it's that great. If white just castles, I think we were looking at bishop takes b5. No. I think g2. Yeah, bishop takes b5 is horrible because the bishop takes g2. So just castling, apparently this is okay. What does black do about b5 here? So anyway, so queen e2 looks as though white's got a good grip on the position for the moment. He took on e4 actually. After bishop takes e4. D5 looks actually plausible here, at least from an engine point of view. Rook d1, d4. Castles. White's a little bit better here, but he didn't play that. He just played rook f4, and this does let me grip these two key central squares. I just play bishop takes b7, kick the rook, and then castle here. I was quite pleased with this position. There isn't too much pressure or annoyance with this bishop. I can always play maybe king g2 if ever this pawn's pinned in the future, if this bishop kind of reroutes in the future. So I think this square g2 could be useful, keeping the bishop out of f4 as well. We see queen e8. Queen e8 was played. Queen e4, queen f7, protecting the rook. Rook a6. Of course, this rook's tied down at the moment at f2. Rook d7. I just get rid of the queens. Queen d5. I've got this grip on the centre here, so I thought if I exchange off queens, then I can look forward to rook b6 to get this pawn. He took, knight takes, and white's better, but I think bishop d8 is necessary here to stop rook b6. And play could continue. I mean, this wasn't played actually. Play could continue after bishop d8. How does white actually make progress? It's just a very, very nice knight, of course, against the bishop. I think just f3, then rook d1, try and gang up on d6 later. So it's a pleasant position. But no, my opponent actually played e4. I think it's loosening pawn structure too much, and b5 immediately is under fire after rook b6. It was a bit on time pressure. Rook f5, I can now just take this pawn and protect the knight, and threaten actually knight e7 check to win this rook. King f7, rook e1, and this other pawn seems to be dropping off as well. So I was very optimistic here. Rook e5. I play c4 here, so the knight's now protected. I can start moving the rook somewhere. Rook a7, and here I play a bit of a howler actually. Yeah, this bishop is potentially quite dangerous, and what I do doesn't help. It helps black potentially. Apparently one of the better moves is just to play b4 here. If b4, say bishop f6, rook b6, rook e6, rook d1, I'm starting to gang up on d6 basically. I moved my two past pawns, so I'm making some progress here. Anyway, so that's the way to play the position, b4. But no, I play on move 31, knight c3. It doesn't lose outright. Actually, it's still in theory okay for white, but I think it lost a significant amount of advantage. Can you see what black can play here and why that's so good? If I gave you 10 seconds here, what would you play with black? So starting from now. I was tempted to hit this pawn and exchange off rooks. Black can play bishop d2 here, and it doesn't actually matter about. I just miscalculated this. Rook takes e5. He just has bishop takes c3 here, and black's almost well, significantly more equal than before. White's best in this position is apparently I think to keep the pawn structure okay, if taking a here, give back the exchange. There is a path b pawn, so maybe that's still okay, but it's a rook and pawn ending. Engine gives this less than pawn advantage, and even worse is as if I play b takes c3, then it's almost just half a pawn now advantage. This position, my double pawns, it's horrendous. It's amazing the transformation there just from a blunder, how much advantage can be lost with one move. Very fortunately for me, my opponent counter blundered in severe time pressure. He had to get to move 35 and he had about 3 minutes. Plays e3. And what does this allow? If I gave you 10 seconds starting from now, what would you play here with white? Okay, f4, just winning material. So he takes on b5 and he's got 2 pieces hanging here, and that's the end of the game. So that was last Tuesday. Hope you got something from that. Comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.